Life has a way of knocking us down. Sometimes the people we counted on walk away. The dreams we once held so close seem shattered beyond repair. The road ahead looks lonely and everything in us wants to give up. But let me tell you today, you are stronger than you think. That storm didn't come to destroy you. It came to reveal the warrior inside of you. The strong woman doesn't wait for someone else to rebuild her. She picks up the pieces and builds something greater. Maybe you've been through heartbreak. Maybe you've faced betrayal, disappointment, or loss. It would be easy to stay down, to let bitterness take root, to believe the lie that your best days are behind you. But you weren't created to stay broken. You were made to rise. God sees you in the struggle. He knows the weight you carry, the tears you've cried behind closed doors. And He's saying, daughter, get back up. I'm not finished with you. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to believe in yourself. When no one is clapping for you, clap for yourself. When no one understands your journey, keep walking anyway. Because every step you take in faith, every moment you refuse to give up, is bringing you closer to the victory that's already yours. The strong woman doesn't just survive, she thrives. She doesn't let the past define her. She lets it refine her. And she doesn't wait for permission to step into greatness. She steps forward with courage, knowing that the God who started a good work in her will be faithful to complete it. You may be rebuilding alone, but you are never truly alone. Heaven is cheering you on. The best part of your story is still being written. Keep pressing, keep believing, keep standing, because your comeback will be greater than your setback. Life doesn't always go as planned. There are moments when everything seems to fall apart, when the dreams you once held close slip through your fingers. You gave your best, you poured your heart into something, but still, it didn't work out the way you expected. The people you trusted let you down. The opportunities you were counting on disappeared, and suddenly, you found yourself standing alone in the rubble of what once was. It's in these moments that the true test begins. It's easy to stay hopeful when everything is going right. It's easy to feel confident when the road ahead is smooth and the people around you are cheering you on. But when life shakes you to your core, when you have to pick yourself up with no one else around to lift you, that's when you discover who you really are. Pain has a way of revealing strength you never knew you had. It forces you to look within, to dig deep, to find the courage to keep going, even when everything in you wants to stop. There may be days when you feel like you don't have another step in you, days when you wonder if you will ever feel whole again. But what you don't realize in those moments is that something powerful is happening beneath the surface. What feels like breaking is actually building. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt is shaping you into something stronger, something wiser, something unstoppable. Look back at your life. Think about the times you thought you wouldn't make it, the moments that felt impossible. Yet here you are. You survived things that once seemed unbearable. You overcame challenges that once made you question whether you had what it took. And if you could make it through those moments, you can make it through this one too. There is more inside of you than you realize. Life may have thrown its hardest punches, but you are still standing. You have more resilience than you think, more courage than you know. It's tempting to wish for an easier road, to long for someone to come and fix everything for you. But the truth is, the strongest people aren't those who had an easy path. They are the ones who had to fight for every inch, who had to rebuild from the ground up, who had to push through when no one else believed in them. There's something about facing difficulty alone that changes you. It teaches you that you don't need approval to move forward. It shows you that your worth isn't defined by who stays or who leaves. It proves that even when everything around you says you can't, you might feel isolated right now. You might look around and see no one standing with you, but that doesn't mean you are without support. It doesn't mean you are without hope. Some of the greatest transformations happen in seasons of solitude. This is where you grow, where you discover the depth of your own resilience. It's where you learn to trust yourself, to listen to that quiet voice inside that says, keep going. This is where you realize that everything you thought you needed from others, you already have within you. Some of the strongest people in history were shaped in the hardest of times. They didn't become great because life was easy for them. They became great because they refused to let difficulty defeat them. They saw obstacles as stepping stones. They took their pain and used it as fuel to rise higher. And now, it's your turn. You are not defined by what you've lost. You are not limited by what didn't work out. What tried to break you is actually setting you up for something greater. The struggles of today are building the victories of tomorrow. There will be moments when you want to quit. Moments when you wonder if it's even worth it to keep fighting. But if you give up now, you'll never see what's on the other side of this. You are closer than you think. You are stronger than you feel, and you have everything you need to keep moving forward. The road ahead may not be easy, but it is leading somewhere. Every step you take, no matter how small, is progress. Every moment you choose to keep believing, even when it's hard, is shaping your future. You may not see it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that this season was necessary. You'll see that what you thought was breaking you was actually preparing you. You'll recognize that the strength you admire in others is the same strength being developed in you right now. One day you'll tell your story, and someone else who is struggling will find hope in your journey. They'll see that if you could rise from the ashes, so can they. For now, just take the next step. Don't worry about the whole journey. Don't let fear convince you that you can't do it. Just take one more step, and then another. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep believing that better days are ahead, because they are. And when you come out on the other side of this, you won't just have survived, you will have become someone unstoppable. There are moments in life when everything seems uncertain. The path ahead looks unclear, and the weight of the unknown feels overwhelming. You've given your best, done everything you knew how to do, yet nothing seems to be working in your favor. It's in these moments that doubt begins to whisper, telling you that you're alone, that nothing will change, that the struggle will never end. It would be easy to give in to those thoughts, to let discouragement settle in, to believe that the silence means there's no hope. But just because you don't see a way doesn't mean there is. Just because it feels like no progress is being made doesn't mean things aren't shifting behind the scenes. There is something powerful about moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. When things don't go as expected, when the doors don't open the way you planned, that's not a sign to stop. It's an opportunity to grow. There is a strength that is built in uncertainty, a resilience that is formed when you have no choice but to keep going despite not knowing what's ahead. Those who accomplish great things in life are not the ones who had everything figured out from the start. They are the ones who learned to keep taking steps forward even when they didn't know where the road would lead. It's natural to want clarity, to desire a perfectly laid out plan before making a move. But life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you have to take a step before you see the whole picture. Sometimes you have to move forward when everything in you wants to stay still. It's in those moments that your strength is revealed. It's in those moments that you prove to yourself that you don't need every detail in place before you begin. You just need the determination to keep going. There may be voices around you telling you it's impossible. There may be opinions from people who don't understand your journey, who don't see what you see. That's okay. You weren't meant to live your life according to someone else's expectations. You weren't meant to stay in the same place just because it makes others comfortable. If you listen to every negative opinion, if you wait for approval from people who don't share your vision, you'll never move forward. The most successful people didn't wait for permission to pursue their purpose. They didn't wait until the conditions were perfect before they took the first step. They stepped out even when they had no idea how things would unfold. The reality is the path may not always be easy. There will be challenges, there will be obstacles that try to make you second guess yourself. But difficulty doesn't mean you're on the wrong track. Struggles don't mean you're failing. In fact, they are often a sign that you're on the verge of something significant. The things that come easily are rarely the things that shape us. It's the battles that build character. It's the moments of uncertainty that strengthen our trust. You've already made it through things you once thought you couldn't survive. There were moments in your past that seemed unbearable, yet here you are. You didn't just make it through, you became stronger because of it. And the same is true for what you're facing now. You may not have all the answers yet, but that doesn't mean you're stuck. You may not see the whole picture, but that doesn't mean there isn't a way forward. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs happen when you refuse to let doubt win, when you choose to keep believing even when the evidence says otherwise. It's easy to focus on what hasn't worked out, to dwell on the disappointments, to replay the moments that didn't go as planned. But what if, instead of focusing on what went wrong, you started looking at how far you've come? What if you started reminding yourself of every time you thought you wouldn't make it, yet somehow you did? What if you began to see your past struggles as proof that you have the strength to keep moving forward? There will be moments when you feel like giving up. Moments when you wonder if it's even worth it to keep pushing. But quitting won't get you where you need to go. Stopping now won't bring the breakthrough you're hoping for. The only way to reach the other side of this is to keep moving forward. Even when you feel uncertain, even when you don't have all the details, even when the road ahead looks unclear. You may not realize it now, but something powerful is happening within you. Every challenge is building resilience. Every setback is preparing you for something greater. What you're walking through now is not the end of your story, it's just a chapter. And if you keep moving forward, if you refuse to let the struggle define you, you will look back one day and realize that everything you faced was leading you exactly where you were meant to be. So don't give up. Don't let the uncertainty convince you that nothing is happening. Keep pressing forward. Keep believing that better days are ahead. Because they are. And when you come out on the other side of this, you will be stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the incredible things that are waiting for you. Life often takes unexpected turns. One moment, everything seems to be falling into place, and the next, it feels like everything is unraveling. The plans you once had, the vision you held for your future, suddenly seem distant and out of reach. It's in these moments of uncertainty and challenge that a choice must be made. Do you let the setbacks define you, or do you take control and decide that this is not how your story ends? The past may not have gone the way you expected, but that doesn't mean the future has to follow the same path. There is something powerful about realizing that you are not stuck in your circumstances. Just because things have been a certain way doesn't mean they have to stay that way. There is always room to grow. Always an opportunity to move forward, always a way to step into something greater. The way things have been is not a reflection of what they will be, but making that shift, moving into something new, requires the willingness to embrace change. It requires the courage to believe that things can be different, even when there is no immediate proof. It's easy to get caught up in past disappointments, to replay mistakes over and over, convincing yourself that things will never improve. But dwelling on what went wrong only keeps you stuck. The only way forward is to stop looking at what didn't work out and start focusing on what is still possible. Every day is a new chance to take a step in a different direction. Every moment is an opportunity to create something better. You are not limited by where you've been. You are empowered by where you choose to go. Many people stay in the same place because they believe they need permission to start fresh. They wait for someone to encourage them, to open a door, to tell them it's time. But waiting for external validation will only delay progress. The decision to move forward doesn't come from others, it comes from within. No one else can decide when you are ready to change. No one else can force you to see your own potential. That realization must come from you. It's important to recognize that setbacks are not failures. They are part of the process. Every person who has accomplished something great has faced moments of disappointment. The difference is they didn't allow those moments to define them. They didn't let difficulties convince them that it was time to quit. Instead, they used the lessons learned to move forward with greater wisdom and strength. There will always be challenges along the way. No journey is without obstacles. But the presence of difficulty doesn't mean that success is out of reach. It simply means that growth is happening. Every challenge faced is an opportunity to become stronger. Every moment of struggle is a chance to develop resilience. The things that seem like setbacks today may be the very things that prepare you for what's coming next. It's also important to remember that the process of transformation takes time. There may not be immediate results. Progress may be slow, but just because you don't see change happening right away doesn't mean it's not happening. Small steps forward, even the ones that seem insignificant, are still steps forward. The key is to keep going, to keep making choices that align with the future you want, even when there is no immediate reward. Many people give up too soon. They expect things to happen quickly, and when they don't, they assume it's not meant to be. But true transformation doesn't happen overnight. It takes persistence. It takes patience. It takes the willingness to keep pushing forward, even when it would be easier to stop. The people who achieve their dreams are not always the most talented or the most fortunate. They are the ones who refuse to quit. There is nothing holding you back except the limitations you place on yourself. The doubts, the fears, the negative thoughts, none of them have real power unless you choose to believe them. But the moment you decide to rise above those doubts, the moment you choose to believe in your ability to create something new, everything begins to change. The only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is the belief that you can get there. This is not the end of your story. What happened before does not define what happens next. You have the ability to step into something greater, to move beyond what has been and create something entirely new. The road ahead may not always be easy, but every step you take brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. No obstacle is too great, no challenge is too overwhelming when you refuse to give up. The greatest transformations come from the willingness to keep moving forward even when it's difficult. Every moment of perseverance, every decision to rise above the circumstances, every step taken toward something better brings you closer to the future you deserve. The past is behind you. The future is still waiting. The only question is, will you take the first step? There are moments in life when it feels like everything has been taken away. The foundation you once stood on seems to have crumbled, and the support you relied on is no longer there. It's in these moments that you're faced with a decision to let the circumstances define you or to rise above them. It's not easy to start again, especially when you've already given so much. It can feel like you're standing in the middle of a storm with nothing but your own strength to keep you moving forward. But what you may not realize in that moment is that everything you need is already inside you. Life has a way of revealing strength in unexpected ways. Sometimes it's not until everything is stripped away that you truly see what you're capable of. When the noise of outside opinions fades, when the distractions are removed, when you have no choice but to rely on yourself, that's when your true power is uncovered. You don't need approval from others to keep going. You don't need permission to rebuild. The moment you decide that you are enough, that you are capable, that you have everything within you to move forward, that is the moment everything changes. It's easy to look at what's missing, to focus on what you've lost, to count all the reasons why things are difficult. But what if, instead of focusing on what's gone, you started looking at what remains? You still have your determination. You still have your resilience. You still have your ability to learn, to adapt, to grow. The circumstances around you may have changed, but who you are at your core has not. If anything, you are stronger now than you were before because you faced difficulties and kept going. You've walked through struggles that could have broken you, but they didn't. You're still here. When everything around you feels uncertain, the temptation is to wait until things feel stable before taking action. But if you wait for the perfect conditions, you'll be waiting forever. Strength is not built in comfort. It's built in the moments of uncertainty, in the times when you take steps forward, even when you don't know where the path will lead. Progress isn't about having everything figured out. It's about taking one step and then another and then another. There may be people who don't understand your journey. There may be those who question your decisions, who wonder why you keep pushing forward when it would be easier to give up. But their opinions do not define your future. You are not here to live according to someone else's expectations. You are not here to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. Your strength is not dependent on whether others see it. It's already within you. The truth is, no one else is coming to build your life for you. No one else can do the work that only you can do. And while that might sound overwhelming, it's actually empowering, because it means you don't have to wait on anyone else to take action. It means you are in control of your own growth. It means that no matter what has happened before, no matter what has been lost, you still have the ability to move forward. Think about the times in your life when you thought you couldn't make it, when you felt like giving up, when you believed there was no way through, yet somehow you kept going. You found the strength to take another step, to keep pushing forward, to refuse to let the difficulties define you. And because of that, you're still standing today. That same strength that carried you through in the past is still within you now. You don't need anything external to prove it. You've already lived it. People often underestimate their own resilience. They assume that because they feel tired, because they have moments of doubt, because they struggle, that they are not strong. But strength doesn't mean never feeling weak. Strength is choosing to keep going even when you feel like stopping. Strength is picking yourself up after a fall, even when you don't know how you'll keep moving forward. Strength is refusing to settle for less than you deserve. There will always be challenges. There will always be moments when things don't go as planned. But those moments are not the end of your story. Every setback is a setup for a greater comeback. Every disappointment is an opportunity to rise stronger than before. You have the power to rebuild, to create something even better than what was lost. Not because it's easy, not because everything will be perfect, but because you refuse to let anything keep you from moving forward. One day you will look back on this moment and realize that it was a turning point. You will see that what felt like an ending was actually a new beginning. You will understand that the strength you needed was within you all along. And you will be grateful that you didn't give up when it would have been easier to walk away. So don't wait for things to be perfect. Don't wait for someone else to tell you it's time. The moment you decide that you are ready, that you are capable, that you have what it takes to move forward, that is the moment everything changes. This is not the end. This is the beginning of something new, something stronger, something greater. And it all starts with the decision to believe in yourself. There comes a time in life when you realize that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to do the work for you. No one is going to hand you the strength, the healing, or the transformation you need. And while that realization might seem overwhelming at first, it's also one of the most liberating truths you will ever embrace. Because when you understand that everything you need is already inside you, you stop waiting for external circumstances to change, and you start creating change for yourself. Strength is not something that suddenly appears when life is easy. Strength is forged in the moments when you have no choice but to keep moving forward. When everything in you wants to quit, yet you decide to take one more step. Strength is built in the struggle, in the late nights when no one is watching, in the early mornings when you feel exhausted but refuse to give up. The strong woman doesn't wait for someone else to come and rescue her. She becomes her own hero. There will be times when you feel exhausted, when you wonder if all the effort is even worth it. You might feel like you're doing everything on your own, like the weight of the world is pressing down on you. But even in those moments, you are growing. Every challenge you face is making you more resilient. Every setback is preparing you for something greater. The process may not be easy, but it is shaping you into the person you were meant to be. The truth is, no one else will ever fully understand your journey. People might see your success, they might admire your strength, but they won't see the battles you fought in silence. They won't know about the nights you cried yourself to sleep, the moments you felt like giving up, the silent struggles that made you question everything. And that's okay. Your journey is not meant to be understood by everyone. Your growth is yours alone, and it does not require validation from anyone else. Many people wait for the right moment to take action. They wait until they feel ready, until they have the perfect plan, until they receive some kind of sign that it's time to move forward. But life doesn't work that way. There will never be a perfect moment. There will always be doubts, always be unknowns, always be reasons to stay where you are. But the strong woman doesn't wait. She moves forward despite the uncertainty. She understands that growth only happens when she steps outside of her comfort zone. It's not always easy to be your own source of strength. There will be times when you wish someone else would carry the burden for you, when you long for someone to step in and make things easier. But the truth is, every time you push through the struggle on your own, you become stronger. Every time you rise after a fall, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. You don't need anyone's permission to build the life you deserve. You don't need to wait for the right circumstances or for someone to tell you that you are ready. The only thing you need is the belief that you are enough, that you are capable, that you have everything it takes to overcome whatever comes your way. And once you embrace that belief, nothing can stop you. People may doubt you. They may not understand your determination, your resilience, your refusal to settle, but that's because they haven't walked your path. They haven't faced the same struggles. They haven't fought the same battles. You don't need their approval to move forward. You don't need their validation to know that you are strong. Strength is not about proving yourself to others. It's about proving to yourself that you can overcome anything. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who has decided that she will not be broken. A woman who has faced the storms, who has walked through fire, who has stood alone and still found the courage to rebuild. She is unstoppable, not because she has never struggled, but because she refuses to let her struggles define her. One day you will look back on this chapter of your life and realize that it was in these moments of difficulty that you became the person you were meant to be. You will see that every challenge, every obstacle, every setback was actually preparing you for something greater. And you will be grateful that you didn't give up when it would have been easier to quit. So keep going, keep pushing forward, keep believing in yourself. Even when no one else does, because you are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. And the best is yet to come. But there comes a moment when you realize that everything you've been through has led you to this point. The struggles, the disappointments, the pain, it has all shaped you in ways you never could have imagined. You didn't just survive, you grew. You didn't just endure, you transformed. And now you stand at the threshold of a new chapter, stronger than before, wiser than before, and more prepared than ever to step into the life you were meant to live. It's easy to look back and focus on what was lost, the people who left, the opportunities that slipped away, the dreams that didn't turn out the way you hoped. But what if, instead of mourning what didn't happen, you started embracing what's still possible? What if you shifted your focus from what's behind you to what's ahead? Because no matter what has happened, the story is not over. There is still more to be written, still more to be accomplished, still more life to live. The hardest part of rebuilding isn't always starting over. It's believing that you have what it takes to create something new. It's trusting that despite the brokenness, despite the setbacks, despite the challenges, you are still capable of rising. But here's the truth. Every time you pushed through the pain, every time you kept going when you felt like quitting, you proved to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. That strength didn't come from an easy life. It was built in the moments of struggle, in the nights when you wanted to give up but didn't, in the days when you fought battles no one else knew about. Now is not the time to doubt yourself. Now is not the time to question whether you are capable. Because if you look back, you'll see that you've already overcome things you once thought were impossible. You've already survived what was meant to break you. And if you could make it through that, you can make it through anything. The future belongs to those who refuse to be defined by their past. It belongs to those who choose to rise, no matter how many times they've fallen. It belongs to those who understand that every ending is just the beginning of something new. You are not the same person you were before. You are stronger. You are wiser. You are more prepared than ever to step into the life you deserve. Some people will look at you and wonder how you kept going. They will see your strength, but not the battles that built it. They will admire your resilience, but never fully understand what it took to get here. And that's okay, because your journey is yours alone. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. You don't need anyone to recognize your struggle in order for it to be real. You know what you've been through. You know what you've overcome. And that is enough. There will be days when the weight of the past tries to pull you back. Days when old doubts resurface. When fear whispers that you are not enough. But in those moments, remind yourself of who you are. Remind yourself of how far you've come. You didn't get here by accident. You got here because you fought for it. You got here because you refused to give up. The life you want won't be handed to you, but it is within your reach. It will require effort. It will require persistence. But the difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's the decision to keep going no matter what. And you've already proven that you have that kind of strength. Everything you need is already inside you. The wisdom, the courage, the determination, it's all there. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You don't need someone else to tell you that you are ready. You are ready now. You are capable now. You have everything it takes to create the life you were meant to live. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something greater. The best days are not behind you. They are still ahead. So step forward with confidence. Step forward with boldness, because you are stronger than you've ever been, and the world has not yet seen all that you are capable of. You have walked through storms that tried to break you, faced battles that no one else could see, and carried burdens that would have made others quit. Yet here you stand, not defeated, not destroyed, but stronger than ever. You are not the same person who started this journey. You have grown, you have learned, and you have rebuilt yourself piece by piece. The world may not have handed you an easy path, but that has never stopped you. Every setback became a lesson, every heartbreak became a stepping stone, and every challenge became proof of your resilience. You have proven time and time again that you do not need permission to rise. You do not need validation to move forward. Everything you need has always been inside you. This is not the end of your story. This is the beginning of something greater. The best days are not behind you. They are still ahead. You are capable of more than you ever imagined. You have the strength to keep building, to keep believing, and to keep moving forward. So stand tall, walk boldly, speak with confidence, because you are the woman who refused to be defeated. You are the woman who rebuilt herself. Not because it was easy, but because she knew she was worth it. And the world has yet to see all that you are destined to become.